Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, and I'm back again with another video, and I'm finally continuing with my top 50 games of all time. This time we're talking about games numbered 20 through 11. Again, I'm so sorry that there's been such big delays between videos. There's this stuff going on and it's been hectic, but regardless, I'm sure you guys know what a top games of all time list I think is, so I won't get into that. If you haven't seen the other ones in the series, then I'll link to the playlist below or in the card or whatever, and you can go check those out if you'd like. So yeah, let's just get on to the list. Number 20, Blue Reflection. This is just a really nice turn-based RPG. Well, is it a turn-based? Yeah, I guess it's sort of. It has that kind of active time thingy moving bar. I don't know how to word it, but it's centered around a bunch of high school girls that need to go into like this dream space and stop the baddies and whatever. The story really itself is not that complicated or unique or whatever, but I really like the main cast. They're just a bunch of, teenagers in school, and they have a bunch of complex issues that they try to work through. So there's a lot of hanging out with various teammates and trying to get them know them better. And when you know them better, they can do better, that kind of thing. I really like that. Also, as usual for games developed by Gust, the music is really, really good. It's just good jam type music, I guess. Number 19, Tales of Exilia. I'm sure a lot of you know, especially if you're an RPG fan, know of the Tales of series, and yeah, this is my only Tales of game on my list. It's not because I don't like the Tales of series, it's just because I haven't gotten around to playing very many of them. Exilia is the first Tales of game that I've beaten. Really loved it. I love the environment. Again, this is very character heavy focused RPG, and that's just something I really love. I'm not always really that great at action RPGs, but here I think it has a nice balance of easy for me to pick up and play, but then also giving a nice little background on background little things you can improve on and learn and dive into. There's a big I believe there's a big skill tree type thing from what I remember. I think I might have only played one of the two routes though, so I do need to go back and give it a replay. It's been a long time anyway, so yep. And I also need to play some more Tales of games. Number 18, Cat Quest 1 and 2. So these two games are both very simple and cute indie action RPGs. You're a cat. And in Cat Quest 2, you also have a dog person, and you can play as them too, or whatever, switch between them. It's very cute. It's centered mostly around, or both games are mostly centered around doing quests for all the sorts of people around. Each of the quests are pretty interesting, actually. It's not like they're all go fetch 10x or whatever, go defeat 3 bandits. They tend to have some sort of interesting aspect of them, whether it's a more funny one or if it's like ooh, that's some backstory type thing, and it's just really enjoyable. Lots of cat puns and also some dog puns in the second game. So if that kind of thing makes you cringe, you might not enjoy these two games, but it just really meshes well with my sense of humor. As well, the action gameplay is very basic, but I still enjoyed utilizing the magic system in particular, just kind of learning how to best use the different spells. I put both of them on the same entry because they're very similar to each other. Cat Quest 2 is probably going to be considered the better game, because it has more of a story, it has just more stuff and to do, but it's maybe it's better quality, I don't really know. I really enjoyed both though, about the same. It's really difficult for me to place one over the other because they're just so similar, so yeah, just put them on 1. If you like Cat Quest 1, you'll most likely like 2. If you don't like 1 or don't like 2, you're highly unlikely to like the other one. Number 17, Atelier Firis. Alright, Atelier. If you know anything about my particular gaming tastes, you know that I really like the Atelier series, so yep, here is one game on my list. This series is just all sorts of things that are my jam. Generally, they're centered around more characters. Wow, we're very character focused already in this list, but yeah, it continues with Furious, and the alchemy system. It's pretty much always interesting in the various entries, gather things, and you have to use what traits the items have to make better things, and I just really like that kind of puzzly thing to that. Atelier Firis is on here, on this spot, I guess. It's not my favorite one, and I don't think I'll be discussing any more Atelier this video, so you'll see that next time. But I'm not really sure why exactly with Firis. I think a bit is I don't quite like the characters as much as some of the ones that I love a lot more. Yeah, it just, I think I don't like this particular set of 3 as much as some of the other ones. So, but one neat thing that I particularly like with Atelier Firis is this new open world type-ish open areas. It's not quite open world because you have to transition from area to area kind of, but they're much bigger areas, which is kind of both a pro and a con in some ways. I find it neat exploring around, although they're quite big and somewhat empty. But I don't know, I just at the end of the day, I still enjoyed playing through Furious and making all sorts of alchemy stuff and whatnot. Number 16, Steins Gate. So yeah, this is one of the most highly praised visual novels that I can think of. So I'm sure a lot of you here have heard of it, even if you haven't played the visual novel. I feel like a broken record, but the big thing with Steins Gate is the characters. I love all of them. There's a lot of little depths and stuff to them that you learn throughout the story. Although, as well, here, I think the story is really interesting as well. There's that, there's a time travel mechanic type thing that twists and turns around, and lots of complicated things happen and stuff like that. It's very engaging to me. And it has a really good mix of those silly and lighthearted moments, but also there's plenty of more dark and depressing and like, oh god, what the heck kind of feeling. So I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I liked Zero as well, Steins Gate Zero. Definitely not in the same level, I think, but part of that is that you have to read Steins Gate before Steins Gate Zero, so you can't enjoy Zero without Steins Gate, so it's kind of weird, but regardless, it's a great visual novel. I also really liked the art for it, before I forget, and some of the music for sure. Number 15, Trauma Center New Blood. I believe I mentioned the Trauma Center games a few times, or maybe just one other time, I don't remember, but I really like the series, and this is my favorite Trauma Center game. Nice, fast action, arcadey operations, with an engaging visual novel story to tie together. As you might imagine, things start out simple and escalate eventually, and wow, worldwide problems and stuff. This one can be quite challenging, but I don't think it's ever really too mean. It's just one of those, some levels that you play in, it's just sweat and stress almost kind of feeling. Just, am I gonna get this done in time? You don't want to kill your patient. New Blood in particular definitely gets a big boost up in my list. It's way above the other Trauma Center games for me, and the reason, or one of the reasons, is that The multiplayer is really good, or I guess it's just 2 players, co-op I guess. Both players get their own set of tools and can work in the operation at the same time, and it's really nice and engaging, and it doesn't make it too easy. I didn't think it really made it that easy at all. It was still really intense. It was something that I didn't like in one of the other entries, Trauma Team, I think. When you have 2 players, you only get a small selection of the tools, so you kind of have to go back and forth, which I thought was kind of annoying. So I really like how it worked in New Blood. Number 14, 428 Shibuya Scramble. This is a visual novel that kind of surprised me on how much I liked it. It originally came out on the Wii and the PSP. I think those were the consoles, at least in Japan only. And we didn't get it until it came out on the PS4. And I'm so glad it did. It kind of came out of left field. It is just one crazy mix of this really super serious drama thriller type story. I double checked with like the trailer and stuff to make sure I'm not spoiling things. But it involves a kidnapping of a girl and there's some bioterrorism involved. So, yeah, that's always fun. Lighthearted. But it pairs this very serious and dark, depressing, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes and kind of thing. And then it just pulls off some really weird, super silly and wacky fourth wall breaking stuff. But it doesn't necessarily feel out of place. It does it all really well. This game also kind of has a mechanic where, so there's like 7 different characters, I think, that you follow, and you have different like branches, I don't know, where you read from the perspective of that character. In order to progress with some of the characters, you need to make certain decisions on other characters, like trees or whatever, to unlock the proper option for other characters to do their story and blah blah. I'm probably saying this really badly, but their timelines, I guess. And there's lots of character growth too, and the characters are interesting, both the serious ones and the more silly ones, or the ones that get into more silly predicaments, I guess. This was such a big swing for me of like, I don't have opinion on this, to I love this. One thing I should point out is this is a visual novel with all like live photos. This is not anime or whatever. I don't know how often that happens, but it was definitely the first for me to play and read or whatever, so I hadn't seen it before, and yeah, I was just surprised how much I really liked it. Number 13, Undertale. Yeah, okay, a lot of people probably know about this one. It's a fun and silly, kind of quirky RPG, is that the right word? It just has the right kind of humor vibes with me. It's kind of just silly. Characters are wacky. There's a few intense battles here, but I still enjoyed them. I don't tend to be into those crazy battles, but I do like them here. It is a kind of unique gameplay where you're like dodging stuff that enemies throwing at you, like almost a bullet hell-esque thing, and I thought that was very interesting. And the music I also really like as well. It's also a pretty nicely paced RPG. I don't really like it when games drag on for longer than they should, and Undertale does not do that. Number 12, Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. Another one I'm doubling up because they're very similar games, but regardless, these two are kind of a mix between the Dragon Quest series and Minecraft. To put it very simply, the general gameplay is you're helping out various villagers, I guess, build stuff and help defend their town from evil stuff, and you gotta overall stop the big evil bad type thing. The reason why you have to build stuff for people and they don't do it themselves is because the power of building things has been lost to everyone except you. It doesn't really make sense to me, but whatever. Let's go with it. I really like the building and stuff, and I really like making all the things. I like gathering, and I like the building and whatever. There's also a little bit of a defending your town or whatever, like setting up traps for big baddies and hope that your town doesn't get just demolished. There's a little bit of that as well, which I was kind of mixed on a little bit, but it generally was okay for me. The second game adds a lot more story to it than the first game. It adds a lot of quality of life features that make it easier to tell when you can build stuff and where you can put things and all that kind of stuff, which is really great. And also the second game adds a island just for yourself, so you can do whatever you want with it and just have a fun time. The first one, you have to go from village to village. You like do all the things. Alright, you're done. You have to go to the next village, do all the things, move on to the next one. Whereas 2, at least you have this nice permanent space you just mess around with as you please. And then finally for this video, number 11, Persona 5. So this is my favorite Persona game, at least so far. I have not played 1 or 2. I really like the daily school life type things, makes friends with people. Oh my goodness, this particular section is full of character growth and development and deeper characters. I just really like most of them. I don't like all of them, but I do like most of the characters that you interact with and you learn more about them, and yay! I really like the palaces in Persona 5 that are very unique. I know in 4 and 3, the dungeon whatevers they decided to call them are procedurally generated with kind of a different wallpaper and a flooring kind of thing, which I didn't really enjoy that much. They were just kind of bland to walk through. Not so in Persona 5. Really fun to go through all of them. As well, the menus are really dang cool, and the music is really catchy. I might like Persona 4's more maybe, but I keep waffling about that, so, you know, whatever, it's good. The gameplay is snappy. I do like the unique ways as well that you go through the dungeon sometimes. You're not always able to just clear the dungeon. I keep calling them dungeons. The palaces in like one go, because sometimes story reasons you need to do stuff in the palace for a bit, and then you need to do stuff outside in the real world for a bit. And I kind of thought that was interesting. It wasn't done in a too annoying way or anything. Like, it could have easily been done in a very irritating way. But I like how they do it here. I have not played the Royal Edition yet, so I cannot comment about those editions, and of course my opinion would probably, I would have different opinions depending on how the different editions and changes are in Royal, but I am looking forward to playing that. I don't know if I want to play that on I don't know if I want to play Royal on PS5 or not, so or just stick with the PS4 version, so let me know if you have opinions on that. I think the PS5 one comes with DLC, but I need to look up what that DLC is and see if that's actually worth it or not, so we'll figure that out. I do need to play Persona 5 Royal. Oh, and I should say, I like it so much, Persona 5, I did go and get the Platinum for it, even though there was one particular trophy that was awful, and I messed it up the first time, so, yeah, beating this twice. Yeah, really enjoyed it. And I still need to play Persona 5 Strikers as well. So, I have lots of games that I want to play. Anyway, that's the end of this particular video. Woo! We're in the final home stretch. Next video, hopefully I can get it out sooner rather than later. But for now, in the meantime, let me know in the comments any of your thoughts on any of these particular games that I mentioned today. Have you played them? Your thoughts? You're interested in playing them? I don't know. If you have any top games you want to talk about, you can also comment that as well. Regardless, can't wait to get that last video out and just like, yeah, my top 10. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye! Never see it coming unless you know my type of RPG preferences. Okay, that's good enough.